In the world of celebrity activism, there is a very fine line between a movement and a mistake. February 2026. The Grammys. Billie Eilish stands on stage, clutching the award for Song of the Year. But she didn't just thank her producers. She looked into the camera and ignited a cultural firestorm with 5 simple words. No one is illegal on stolen land. It was meant to be a moment of defiance against ICE, a moment of solidarity with the marginalized. But within 60 seconds, the internet did what the internet does best. It looked closer. While Billie was wearing an ice-out pin and calling America stolen land, her critics were pulling up property records. They were looking at her $14 million mansion in the hills of Los Angeles.
And what they found
Was the ultimate irony.
tonight.
We're diving into the heartless fallout of a speech that was meant to change the world, but ended up trapping an icon in her own gated community. The backlash wasn't just coming from political commentators. It was coming from the very people Billie was claiming to represent. The Tongva tribe, the indigenous people of the Los Angeles basin, issued a statement that was both gracious and devastating. They confirmed that Billie's mansion sits directly on their ancestral territory. Narrator. But the real sting? They revealed that Billie had never once contacted them. Not before the speech. Not after. We appreciate the visibility, the spokesperson said. But the subtext was clear. Visibility without connection is just
Noise.
The heartless aspect of the story began to take shape as fans realized that Billie was preaching from a pulpit built on the very ground she was calling stolen. The demands began to flood her feed. If the land is stolen, Billie, when are you handing back the keys? As the pressure mounted, the world waited for a Billie moment. A raw, unfiltered video. A genuine connection. Instead, they got what critics are calling the heartless apology. A polished, corporate-styled statement released through her team. No mention of her property. No plan for reparations. Just a vague commitment to continue learning. For a generation that values authenticity above all else. This was the breaking point. The apology felt like it was written by a lawyer, not a leader. It felt like she was trying to protect her brand. While her stolen land comments were still ringing in the ears of the people who actually lost it. Even her brother, Phineas, tried to step in, blaming powerful old white men for the outrage. But he missed the point. The outrage wasn't about politics. It was about the gap between a $14 million lifestyle and a stolen land rhetoric. We have to ask the hard question. Can you be a revolutionary while living in a palace? The heartless label stuck because Billie's words felt like a weapon she wasn't willing to use on herself. Satirical law firms offered to help the Tongva tribe evict her. Political figures mocked her woke elitism. But the most painful criticism came from her own fans. They pointed out that for Billie, stolen land was a catchphrase. For the indigenous people of Los Angeles, it was a reality she was literally fenced off from. The apology didn't fix the rift because it didn't address the mansion in the room. It showed the world that even the most authentic stars have a limit to their activism. They'll speak for you, but they won't live like you. As of tonight, the gates of the Eilish mansion remain closed. The ice-out pins have been put away. Billie Eilish is still a titan of the music industry, but this stolen land controversy has left a permanent mark on her legacy. It served as a reminder that in 2026, words are no longer enough. The heartless apology will go down in history as the moment the bad guy realized that some battles you can't win from a jacuzzi. What do you think? Was Billie's apology enough? Or should she be doing more to acknowledge the land she lives on? Drop your thoughts in the comments. This is a conversation that is far from over. In the high-stakes game of celebrity activism, timing is everything. February 2026. The world was watching the Grammys. When Billie Eilish took the stage, she didn't just accept an award. She issued a challenge. Wearing a bold ice-out pin, she looked into the lens and declared, "No one is illegal on stolen land." On paper, it was a viral moment of solidarity. But in reality, it was the start of a massive PR nightmare. Within minutes, the internet began to fact-check the very ground she stood on. They weren't looking at her politics. They were looking at her real estate.
Tonight.
We're breaking down the heartless fallout of a message that hit a wall of $14 million hypocrisy. The backlash didn't come from the usual critics. It came from the people who actually owned the history Billie was referencing. The Tongva tribe, the indigenous people of the Los Angeles basin, responded with a statement that was both quiet and devastating. They pointed out that Billie's massive mansion sits directly on their ancestral lands. But the real sting? They revealed that for all her public rhetoric, Billie had never reached out to them. No donations, no dialogue, no acknowledgement beyond a stage-lit slogan. Visibility is great, the community whispered. But the land is still behind a gate. The Heartless label began to trend as fans realized that Billie was preaching about stolen land, while living on the most expensive piece of it. As the pressure reached a boiling point, Billie's team scrambled. Everyone expected a raw, handwritten note or a tearful video. Instead, the world received the Heartless apology. It was a cold, 3-paragraph statement released via an Instagram story. No mention of her property. No plan for reparations. Just a vague promise to be better. For her Gen Z fanbase, a generation that demands radical transparency, this felt like a betrayal. It wasn't an apology, it was a shield. It was the sound of a corporate machine trying to protect a brand while an icon lost her soul. The gap between the bad guy and the billionaire landowner had never been wider. We have to ask the question that no one in Hollywood wants to answer. Can you be a voice for the voiceless? From inside a $14 million fortress? The controversy grew because it felt like Billie was using a tragic history as a fashion statement. Critics argued that if she truly believed the land was stolen, her apology should have included a deed, not just a draft. Even her inner circle struggled to defend the silence. They